This is Hannah with One to One. Yesterday we talked about water, the real energy drink. Let's review our health kit question from yesterday. What is the #1 source of excess calories in a person's diet? It's probably no surprise that the #1 source of excess calories is from sugar-based beverages, such as sodas and fruit juices. 1 can of soda has 12 teaspoons of sugar and 140 calories, while water has 0 teaspoons of sugar and 0 calories. Aim to drink mainly water and enjoy all the benefits we discussed yesterday of a hydrated body. Over the next few weeks, our focus will be on food and nutrition, but keep drinking plenty of water and continue to find a minimum of 30 minutes of you time to move each day. Today's discussion by taking a closer look at something you see every day, but likely don't understand when trying to read it. This is the nutrition label. Over the next 5 weeks, we are going to use the nutrition label as our roadmap to better understand the nutritional value of food. There are 7 key components to the label. Serving size. If the nutrition label is our roadmap, the first step to reading it is to know where we are going. This can be found by reading the serving size. Nothing is relevant on a food label unless you know the serving size and understand what it means. Most serving sizes are measured in cups and ounces. This is a cup, and it's approximately the size of a baseball or your fist. Most people are familiar with a 16-ounce soda bottle. But what if your serving size on the label says 8 ounces and you plan to drink the whole 16? This is where most people make mistakes and where most people get frustrated because some simple math is required. You must be able to recognize when you need to multiply or divide calories, carbohydrates, fats, and protein by the number of serving sizes you will consume. Calories. If we continue with the idea that preparing a meal is like preparing for a road trip, and the nutrition label is our roadmap, once we know where we're going, the second step is to know how much fuel we are putting in the tank. This is equivalent to the calories listed on the food label. I can say a lot here about the confusion surrounding calories and about their role in weight loss, but it's important to know that food fuels your body, and that not all calories are created equal. There are 3 sources of fuel in food: fat, carbohydrates, and protein. Total fat. Fat is the most dense fuel source, which has given it a bad reputation when it comes to weight loss, but it is also the most efficient fuel source. So what does this mean? Do we avoid fat or do we eat it for energy? Well, the answer is yes to both. Fat comes in 3 forms: the good, bad, and ugly. Unsaturated, saturated, and trans fat. Week 3 is dedicated to discussing the good, bad, and ugly to clear up confusion about this part of the roadmap. Our goal is to avoid trans fats, limit saturated fats, and increase unsaturated fats. Sodium. Sodium falls next on the food label and is added to almost all processed foods. Sodium is an element of salt used to prevent the growth of bacteria. You want to try to limit sodium in your diet as much as possible, especially if you have heart problems or high blood pressure. The American Heart Association recommends a 2,300 milligram limit. We will give further tips on sodium next week. Total carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the second energy source that comes in 2 forms: simple and complex. On a food label, you will see total carbohydrates, dietary fiber, and sugars, which describe the type of carbohydrate found in that food. We will discuss carbohydrates in this section of the food label during the 4th week. The average American's main source of fuel comes from carbohydrates due to breading, frying, snacking, and fast food. These excessive carbohydrates turn into stored fat. When reading a food label, aim for no more than 45 grams per meal. Protein. Protein is our third and final fuel source, with a main function of building, repairing, and maintaining muscles and cells in your body. You should aim to get 30 grams of protein with each meal. Week 5, we will discuss protein in more detail. Ingredient list. This is the final step in our label reading journey, and where you can find a SparkNotes version about what is in your food. If all else fails when trying to read the nutrition label, nothing can be hidden in the ingredient list. Look for hydrogenated oil, additives, words you can't pronounce, or forms of added sugar, which is anything ending in an ose. Less is always more when it comes to nutrition. Before we go, here's your Health Kit question of the day. If the front of the food label says 0 grams of trans fat, can you be certain there are no trans fat in that food? We will have your Health Kick answer tomorrow, but until then, keep moving. So in summary, practice recognizing the 7 components of a nutrition label: serving size, calories, total fat, sodium, carbohydrates, protein, and ingredient list. Compare some foods you eat on a regular basis. Limit trans fats, sodium, and sugar. Increase fiber, unsaturated fat, and protein.